So tell me, what's your funniest or craziest real estate story?
For some reason, this maintenance company that changed the locks did not have a lockbox. So he told me, I left you the keys on the counter. And
Of the locked home?
he said he left the door in the back unlocked. Oh. Well, he didn't leave the door in the back unlocked, but there was a window, so I had to crawl in the window to get the keys on the counter. The neighbor across the street called the police because he saw me breaking into the house. And then when I came outside, there was just cop cars outside. But you want to get the funny thing is the cop that was there was one of my clients. And that's a true story.
That's full circle. There you are, taking care of people.
Yeah.
In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. You put the bars in the place. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover with the drummer, passion never rests.
Hi, welcome back to the Compass Studio. Today, my guest, I'm very excited to say, is Camille Bruno. We get to talk sometimes off camera. She doesn't like talking on camera, but we're going to change that today, aren't we?
Oh, yes, we are.
Welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
So we'll start off with easy questions.
Okay.
Tell me where you grew up.
I grew up in Claremont.
Here, you're a local San Diego?
Claremont, San Diego. I can't say I'm native, but I was born in Pensacola, Florida, and moved here when I was 4 weeks old, so I'm pretty native.
We'll give you that one. That's native.
Yeah.
There's so few people that are actually native to San Diego. It's always
know.
fun to meet someone who's
That's why I know everybody.
probably helps you a lot in your career.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It certainly does.
So you grew up here. What was your first, what you would call, job?
My first
Real
job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had two first real jobs. From 9 years old to 15 years old, I had a paper out.
Really?
Believe it or not. I had the Sentinel, which was a Sunday paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got a little older, I got the Union Tribune, which used to be delivered in the morning. Like I had to go out at 4:30 a.m. and deliver papers.
Just the bicycle,
yes,
the whole thing, the basket, and
mm-hmm. But then my first real job, I got hired at McDonald's like everybody else when I was 15 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get a work permit because I wasn't 16.
Oh, really?
That was my first real job.
A little bit of work
Where I got
ethic
a
showing
W-2.
through already,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
How'd you like working at McDonald's?
It was a fun first job, but I didn't do it very long.
No. What was your last job, your last real job before you went into real estate?
I worked for the Campbell Soup company for 10 years as a salesperson.
Really?
That was my first job out of college, and I did it for 10 years. And then when I was going to have my second kid, I took a leave of absence, and then I decided to stay home for 5.5 years. So I went back to work when my youngest was 2. So I took 5.5 years off between that and real estate.
Can you do the Campbell Soup song for us?
Just the good? I don't know. I don't even remember it.
That's what Campbell Soup is. Good.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good marketing when it's still in your head.
Yeah.
So what did you sell for Campbell Soup?
I was an area rep for them, so I sold all their soup. But a lot of people don't know this, but Campbell Soup owns Pepperidge Farm Frozen, and they own Le Menu and all the Swanson frozen dinners. So I dealt with all that. So I had grocery stores from the border to Orange County, and that was my route.
All of those products.
Mm-hmm. And they have canned food too. They have besides soup, they have Franco-American SpaghettiOs, and they have the not very good taste and stuff, but the gravy in the can.
Right.
Yeah.
It comes in handy sometimes.
The Swanson broth and
Emergency.
all that. Yeah.
You're right. I had no idea that they owned all of that.
And this is a nice little tidbit a lot of people don't know. They own Godiva chocolates.
Campbell Soup owns Godiva chocolates, which is considered very high-end chocolate, right? Mm-hmm. It's coming out of the same factory that's making chicken noodle.
I don't want it tasting like tomato soup, but yeah.
So I'm curious now, when you're in sales, like you're not going to individual grocery stores saying you should put my product on your shelf, right? What does that look like?
In grocery business, they have what they call a schematic, and you own you have 10 rows of Campbell Soup, of chicken noodle soups on the bottom. Tomato soup's on the bottom. All the high-end ones are on the bottom because you get more facings, they call them. And I used to fight with the guys because they try to take my facings, and I knew how many I'd have. So I used to go toe-to-toe with the guy from, American Home Foods and stuff because he had my competition. So, but I would go in and I'd have to tell them when they had their ads what they needed to order. Like This was in the 80s, so people used, that's when they sold Campbell Soup for 10 for $1. They don't do that anymore. So I had to go in and say, okay, you need to order 600 cases of Campbell Soup, of chicken noodle, because you're going to have an end cap display.
Right.
And so I had to make sure they ordered what they needed, because some of those guys weren't paying attention and they'd run out.
So you knew what was coming, what
Yeah.
sales, and how to stuff.
Yeah, and I won all kinds of contests.
Really?
Yeah. So
You were the Campbell Soup queen.
yeah, I was the Campbell Soup. In fact, when I got hired there in 1985, I was one of 2 women in Southern California.
Wow.
It was a totally male-dominated business.
Probably because you had to go toe to toe with
Yeah,
other.
and then when I left 10 years later, it was most of the salespeople were women.
Really?
It changed, yeah. It changed a lot.
You kind of blazed that trail.
Yeah, I did.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're there, you're winning awards, then you took a leave.
Yeah, I took a leave.
Right. And then after 5 years, you said, okay, but I'm not going to go back to Campbell's. I'm going to go into
No.
real estate. How did that come about?
I always like sales and I like people, and I had 3 kids then, so I wanted flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's kind of funny because when I was at Campbell Soup, I ended up getting carpal tunnel from using the box, because I used to throw those cases up, so I used box cutters all the time.
Really?
And so I had a rehab like benefit that they would retrain me. And of course, I asked them to send me to grad school, and they said no, because you already have a college degree. Because most of the people that came to these rehab places, and not drug rehab, like
Right.
work rehab,
Physical.
vocational, yeah. So they didn't have college degrees, so they wouldn't give me an extra degree. So I said, okay, well then I want to get my real estate license. So they paid for me to go to. They paid for all my schooling. They paid for my fingerprinting. They paid for my license. They paid for me to take the test. Because I had this benefit, and if I didn't use it, or I'd lose it. And I had a 2-year-old then, so I had to put her in daycare, and they paid for that. And then, let's see. So, anyways, I got my license. So, but they paid for all that. And,
That's
and
really
they sent me
nice.
to this school, which I know doesn't exist anymore. It was up on Arrow Drive. It was called Nordstrom Business School, because I didn't have any computer skills, because we didn't use computers. We used
Right.
handheld like order machines. We didn't use computers. So I didn't know really how to use a computer. It's kind of strange. I didn't even have a cell phone.
Well,
But-
they were in the 80s, computers
Yeah.
were just starting
Yeah.
to.
So I went to like a 6-week course, like to learn how to do Excel and spreadsheet and all the kinds of stuff. So they paid for that
as
too.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Do-
So I was their rehab student of the year, because I got into real estate, and then I was rookie of the year my first year.
I was to say, you've been
Yeah.
winning awards pretty much all the way through. Still now.
I'm very aggressive. No.
Competitive.
I'm
Very
competitive. Yeah, I'm competitive.
Why real estate? When you were coming back, why did you say real estate? Was it just the flexibility? Or?
I always liked houses, and I bought my first house out of college in 1987. I bought it in Eastlake, and I liked real estate. And then I didn't like living in Eastlake because I was single and it was all family. So then I rented it out, moved home, saved money, and bought a condo in Point Loma. Of course, my mom thought I was nuts, but so I thought I want to go into real estate because I like sales and I like people, and I knew I could do it.
What's your favorite part about being a real estate agent? What do you like most?
The kill. No, I like the negotiation. I'm a listing agent primarily, and I like to deal with the sellers. I like to do the planning. I like to do the negotiation. I like to work with the other agents. I have a pretty good reputation. Most of the agents like to work with me.
Right.
So
You are known as someone who's, what you say is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people know that. If they haven't worked with me before, I tell them, listen, I follow the contract.
Mm-hmm.
If you get to your contingency period and you haven't removed your stuff, you're going to hear from me. So, but I said, if you remove it, you won't hear from me.
It's like strong fences make good neighbors.
Yeah.
We're going to follow the contract.
But people know in the business, that especially the agents in South Bay, they know how I roll. So they know. So.
Okay, what is your least favorite thing about being a real estate agent?
My least favorite thing is probably, you probably won't like this, but I don't like doing open houses.
Why are you saying I won't like this?
I would do them. I don't like putting up the signs. That's the worst part of my job, is putting up the signs and taking them down.
Pay someone to put the
I
signs
know.
up.
I've
damn
never
it.
found someone to do it except my husband, and then he's kind of retired from that. He doesn't want to do it anymore. I love to do the open houses because I like to meet the people coming in, and I like to talk to the agents. I just don't like the signs.
You know, you're not the first person to say that.
Yeah. Especially
Anybody who's watching, if you need a brilliant business idea, apparently we need a sign putter upper
Yeah, we
for
do.
open houses.
And you know, there have been people that have done that, but then some of these people want to charge you like $30 a sign, and that's, I mean, I'm not going to pay
That's
$300 to
right.
put up signs for 2 hours.
Well, and you may put on some open houses 30 signs.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's probably the worst part. And then the other second worst part, I think, is sometimes when you have to deal with people that aren't telling you the truth, and then you find out from the lender that they really can't qualify after something came up during the middle of the transaction, like a credit issue or something.
so tell me, what's your funniest or craziest real estate story?
Craziest real estate story is when I handled the REO accounts for GMAC Mortgage. Once I notified the vendor that they were empty, they would go change the locks. Well, normally they put lock boxes, the combo lock boxes on, and I had access to all of them. And for some reason, this maintenance company that changed the locks did not have a lock box. So he told me, I left you the keys on the counter. And
Of the locked home?
he said he left the door in the back unlocked.
Oh.
Well, he didn't leave the door in the back unlocked, but there was a window, so I had to crawl in the window to get the keys on the counter because I saw him on the counter. And the neighbor across the street called the police because he saw me breaking into the house. And then when I came outside, there was this cop cars outside. But you want to get the funny thing is the cop that was there was one of my clients. And that's a true story.
That's full circle. There you
Yeah.
are taking care of people.
Yeah.
You had the cops called on you for breaking and entering.
Yes. And then and then when I came out, it was him. I'm like, what are you doing here? And he goes, well, we got to call you that someone's breaking into the house. And I go, it's me. I had to get the keys.
I love it.
Yep. So that was one of my funniest stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably it.
You've had, obviously, quite a few awards. And I know you continue to receive. I
Yes.
mean, you do, whatever you do really well. What are you most proud of in that realm?
I think I'm most proud of that my relationships I build with my clients, because most of my business is repeat. I would say 95% of my business is repeat and referrals. I don't pay for leads. I don't, but I just don't do that. I don't pay for all those, Zillow leads and
Right.
Redfin and all that stuff. I don't do that. Because I get so many referrals and so many, my clients, I mean, I have clients I've done 9-10 deals with over like a span of 10 years. Because I'm in my 21st year now. So, but I have one client in the last 4 years, between them and what they've referred to me, I've done 9 deals. I've sold 3 for them, and then I've done 6 referral fees.
It's about the
referrals.
highest compliment you can have in
Yeah.
real estate is when everybody refers back to you.
Yeah, and that client's an attorney, so. So I was afraid the first time I met her. She was just kind of scary.
I thought you were going to tell me about some award you won. I love that your proudest thing is that I've taken care of people so
Yeah.
well, they refer back to me.
Yeah. I mean, I win a lot of top producer awards, with, like most agents that produce, but I think I like my client retention. That's my highest compliment I think I can get.
That really is.
Yeah.
If we had some relatively new agents sitting here and you were either going to give them advice or maybe listen, here's something I wish I had known or paid attention to a lot earlier in my career, what would you tell them?
I think I would tell them, when I started real estate, they wanted you to cold call people constantly, and that just was not my thing. I did not want to. I don't like when people call me, so I didn't want them calling. I didn't want
Right,
them to call
right.
them. But I would just say, stay in contact with your sphere. Like, contact everyone you know, your sphere. Stay in contact with your clients, and I don't hammer them like all the time. But with the Compass stuff, I send them a newsletter, and they like it, and they comment. Like, they'll send comments back to me, not all the time, but they do. And I would just say, just follow through. It's you can't drop the ball in this business. You drop the ball, it's the kiss of death.
There's someone else waiting right
Yeah,
there,
and especially right now.
especially right now. Okay, that's very good advice. Have you ever had a client, I shouldn't even ask it that way. Tell me about a client who's touched your heart, of the many clients you've had. Can you think of one?
You know what? I'll have to tell you, in the last couple of years, I'm selling a lot of houses for people in their 80s, because because I'm getting old. So all my friends' parents are getting old, and like going into assisted living or moving in with them. And I'm getting a lot of elderly people calling me, and they just, I love them because they're so sweet. And like I have one right now that's getting ready to close. She's been in the house for 61 years. She's 81 years old.
Wow.
I call it her child bride house. She moved there when she was 20 years old, and she had her first kid.
And never left.
Mm-mm. And she was very, very concerned on who bought her house. She did not want to sell it to an investor. She wanted a young family to buy it. So, and I had over 25 offers, and she just loves the people that bought her house. She finally got to meet them because they came and she doesn't like to leave. She didn't want a lockbox. So they came for the inspection, and she was there. And I said, I think you'll really like them. I met them, and I go, they're really cute, and they're sweet, and they're going to love your house just like you did. And after they left, she called me. She goes, I just love them. Yeah. And so I was like, so because she was really concerned on who bought her house.
I think people would be surprised to learn how many facets there are to being an agent. Mm-hmm. Like in there, you're almost a talent scout. It's not just sell the home; it's find the buyer that my seller will like.
Well, and right now too, with 25 offers and 17 of them were investors, you have to be able to juggle that because you know with the investor what's going to happen. They're going to do monkey business when you get down the transaction, and so I really screened the 5 owner occupied ones and kind of told her what I thought. Talked to the lenders and talked to the agents and so I just think that she's going to be really happy. And then she was concerned because people next door just sold the house, and it was a young couple that just had a baby, so she wanted someone young for them. So it was
what a thoughtful woman.
She kind of handpicked her buyer.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
And the other part again that people don't realize, the tightrope you have to walk between knowing what your client wants and not going afoul of any of the many, many laws and many regulations. Yeah. That's not an easy thing.
Yeah, we had to lay them all out. Mm-hmm. And then I had to show them to her, and I just told her the terms of everything, and she liked their offer. So
I love that. So what would your friends say that you do all day? If I asked, what do you think Camille's doing today? They would say what?
Working.
Working, yes. But what do they think you do all day?
Talk on the phone. On my phone. My husband says I'm on my phone all the time. My eyes watering. Sorry about that. Let's see. What do they? They think my client, everyone thinks I work 24/7, which I don't work 24/7, but
Does it feel like it sometimes?
I do, but I will answer. If it's someone I'm in a transaction with and they text me at 10, and if it's just a quick question, and they know I'll respond, so I always respond. But if it's a random agent calling on a listing, I don't answer my phone that way.
Right.
So, but they know that I always have things going on in my head, so I'm always like thinking about my next transaction. Like I got up this morning real early to put in a new listing, and I had about 15 calls already this morning.
Already?
Yeah.
This is a crazy market right now.
So
you, at some point, you're doing real estate, you're doing well, and you joined Compass.
yes.
What made you decide to join Compass?
So I started my career with Macmillan, and I worked there for 17 years until they sold the company, which I was really upset because it was like a family. Mm-hmm. And if you knew Macmillan agents, most of the people have been there like 20, 30 years. So it was very hard on us when they sold the company. So we were bought out by another franchise that didn't go so hot because it crumbled in 16 months. So then we got taken over by another franchise in our area that was a Realogy company. And I went there because I was basically told at 4:00 in the afternoon that it was happening the next morning, and I didn't really have a choice. And I had already been contacted by Compass.
May is a busy season for you.
And so I called my old general manager from Macmillan, who hired me, who's my mentor, who I love, Isabel Hall. I don't know if you know her. And I told her what was going on. Well, she knew what was going on. I go, you know what's going on? And she goes, yes. And I said, well, I don't know if I want to do that. And she goes, but Camille, you're too busy right now. She goes, you can't go out and look for a company tonight and move tomorrow. So she goes, just go with the flow. And she goes, and then when you're ready, she goes, you go out and interview other companies on your terms. Mm-hmm. And so I stayed there for 2 years, but I had been talking to you guys and I was thinking about it. And then I just decided, nothing jumped out at me. It was just, I thought, you know what, I want to do what I want to do because I'm getting old and I won't want to move companies again. So I contacted Adam, the recruiter, and I said, okay, I'm ready to come talk to you. And then the rest was history.
The rest is history.
So I've been here a little over 2 years now.
Has it the things that you were promised, that you expected, the things that Compass is known for, has it lived up to it now that you're on the inside?
It's overexceeded.
It's overexceeded.
I like the agents here. I like the collaborate without ego, and everyone here really does that. And I've been at other companies where people are. It feels like they want to get into what you're doing. They want to ask you a million questions because they want to try to
Take your
clients or take your whatever your strategy. And I feel here like everyone gets along. I love all the agents here. I love the management. I like the techie stuff, even though I'm not as techie, but I've gotten techier. And
Don't have a choice.
yeah, I don't have a choice. You got to learn it. And I just like I guess because it's welcoming. It's kind of, it reminds me a lot of McMillan because it's like a family. Even though it's bigger, it's like a family. And
They've maintained that culture.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I loved about my first company is like the culture. We had parties, we had potlucks, we did stuff. Everyone got along. Everyone knew everyone's kids, their spouses. I like that.
I have to say, of all the companies I've been with, a lot talk about that collaborate and work together. I've never been someplace where everybody was actually doing it.
Yeah, it's not just a
Right.
It's not just a motto.
It's not a thing on the
Yeah,
wall.
they do it.
So coming up through the business, or even now, is there an agent you look up to?
I like the agents that maybe they're not the top producer, but they're like I'm in the middle of the road, and I like to watch them work to see if, cause I like to emulate them, and see if there's something I could pick from them. Because sometimes the top people, they have too many people working for them, so they're not really doing it. Like I do it. Like I have a marketing person and I have a TC, but I'm still at 6 a.m. putting my own listings in. I do all my own paperwork. I do my DocuSign, and I know I need to probably outsource a little bit of that.
See that? We'll have to have a talk about.
I know. I need to do that because I felt a little overwhelmed this year because I've had a lot of listings, and I have another one coming too. So I just, but I do. I want them in, and I want I write my own remarks. People go, "Who writes your remarks?" And I go, "I do that." And they're like, "You write really well." And I said, "I know, but I want them to sound good. I want you to buy my house."
This is the marketing.
Yeah.
They're hiring me to do this.
But yeah, there's a lot of all the really good agents are here now.
Right. That's true. It's funny, and this is just an aside from me, because you're not going to say it. You're a very modest person, but when you say, "Well, I'm middle of the road," that's an odd perception. You're one of the top producers out there.
Oh, thank you.
It may be middle of the road in your mind. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what you're measuring, but
Yeah,
you take care of a lot of families every single year,
I do.
and that you're doing it basically on your own.
Yeah.
That's why it feels 24/7 so often.
Yeah.
I'm sure
But I still take time off. I just went to Cabo a couple weeks ago, so.
you have to, right?
Yeah.
Good for you. Okay. What is one of my favorite questions? What's a public perception of real estate agents that you know not to be true?
That you do no work and you make a lot of money.
That's the perception.
Yeah. And I've seen this because now I've seen the cycle because it's happened in 2004 when the market was in 2005 when it was nuts. And everyone in there, their mother and their grandmother, they all get their license to do their DNA cells. And then when the market changes like it did in 2007, 8, they all drop out because they all think it's easy money and it's not. And the thing is you have to maintain the relationships to get you through those low times,
Right.
But I think that's the biggest misconception of real estate agents.
I almost asked you, and I'm going to now. Early on, you said, I thought about real estate for the flexibility. How's that working out? Is there a lot of flexibility or is there a lot of time?
When my kids were little, it was good because, and this is good advice I got from my first broker too. She told me, she goes, when you make an appointment, and if you're taking your kid to soccer practice or doctor, don't tell your clients. Just say, I have an appointment at 4. Can you do it at 2? Because I think once and not all my clients, but I found this out when I was new, is they think they own you, and you can't. Oh, God forbid you take your kid to soccer practice.
You can't have a life.
You can't have a life. Like you can't have Saturday afternoon off to go to a cheerleading competition.
Right.
And so my youngest daughter was a cheerleader. She did all-star cheer where we traveled a lot, and then she was varsity cheerleader at Eastlake. And so I used to travel with her, like from February to May. We were gone almost every weekend. So all her friends, they're all in their 20s now. They all remember. They go, "Yeah, Bella, your mom used to sit in the lobby with her laptop working." Like I'd watch them do their 3-minute routine, but then I'd let her go run off it, and I'd be out with her working. So but I got a lot of business from them though. So from cheerleader moms.
Because once again,
yeah.
you maintain.
yeah. So
If you could start a project and you knew it was guaranteed you wouldn't fail, what project would you start?
does it have to be work related?
Nope, anything you want.
Wouldn't fail. You're gonna laugh. I need to finish my kids' scrapbooks, and
That is a good one.
Okay, so you're gonna laugh. When my son Dominic was 3, and that's when I was staying home, I needed to do something. I was going nuts in my house, and I was pregnant with my third one, and I started teaching creative memories classes, which is like a home-based business, and I got a lot of business from that when I went into real estate. But so I taught people how to do scrapbooks, and I have like really good scrapbooks up till my kids were like 7. And now they're all in their 20s.
And it just
so
stopped.
I need to finish them. And so now that my last one left to go to grad school, I want to finish those. I'm going to set my craft room back up and try to work on them at night.
So you're actually going to do it. That's
I'm
not
going to
just
do it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's going to take me a while, but they're going to be done.
Knowing your competitiveness, yeah.
I think they would all fall over if I give them their scrapbooks at Christmas done, all 3 of them.
Now you're putting a time limit?
I'd like to get them done. We'll see. Maybe one of them. No, I'll try.
All right, you can have dinner with any 3 people, living or dead, in the history of the world. Who would you have dinner with?
Who would I have dinner with? I think I would have dinner with Barbara Walters. You know why?
Why?
Because she's very interesting and she's very worldly, and I think she always told the truth. Mm-hmm. And I think that she just did a lot of. I love watching her Barbara Walters interviews. You don't see her anymore. I think she's kind of.
Yeah,
She's
semi-retired.
older. Yeah. So, but I always enjoyed watching her interviews with all the celebrities and stuff because she always felt like she was real.
And all those people she talked to, she gained. Now you could talk to her.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. Interesting. All right. You've heard me talk before about the most important words in the world, or whatever words follow I am. So finish that statement. I am
Committed.
committed. Okay, we're going to end with the 10 questions.
Okay. Oh boy.
These are the 10 questions that I picked up from inside the actor's studio that I love so much.
Okay.
Okay. What is your favorite word?
Go.
What is your least favorite word?
Stop.
What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of a running creek.
What sound or noise do you hate?
A barking dog.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
To see into the future. And why? Because I want to see how many grandkids I'm going to have.
That's fabulous. How do you cure a hangover?
Don't drink too much.
Oh.
Don't drink too much.
Don't drink too
Okay.
much. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
In my next life or for real?
Your choice. I'm going to go with fireman.
Fireman? Nah,
No.
I don't want to be a fireman. But I do like fireman shows. I think if I wasn't in real estate, I could have been a private detective.
Oh, interesting.
And you know why?
Why?
Because I feel like in this business you're half detective. Because I had REO accounts for 7 years from 2008 on until they came back to normal, and I used to have to find out if they were in the house. I'd have to find out who owned it. I used to call SDG&E to find out the utilities on because I had to find out so we could do cash for keys or if we did the lockout. And so I used to call and say, I would ask them, and I finally got people there that I knew because they knew my voice. And I'd say, hey, is that house occupied or they have electricity on? Nope. Then we knew we could change the locks.
So you're kind of doing it now.
Yeah. So
Okay.
halfway.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to be a nurse.
Yeah.
I don't like blood and guts.
That would be a bad choice.
Yeah.
Camille, where's your favorite spot in San Diego?
My favorite spot, I would say the beach at Coronado. I love Coronado. I'd like to live in Coronado one day.
Maybe that should be your project.
I know. That's true.
Last question.
Okay.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, God. I don't know. I didn't think of that one. I don't know.
Maybe go with your first, oh, God.
Oh, God.
Maybe that's what he's
oh,
saying.
God. Oh, God, not her. God, not her. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm really glad you came and did this.
Okay.
I know you were hesitant, but it was fun, yes?
Yes, it was fun.
Got to learn more about you.
Yeah?
Yes,
I'm an open book.
you are.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Camille Bruno.
Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze come freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares of all.